Hey guys, real quick before today's video starts, just wanted to let you guys know that this video was originally filmed back in early December of 2019, but I was not able to post it until today. Hi. So what you're about to see is my true feelings just after driving the all-new 2020 Corvette. I was kind of limited on what I could film. You'll find out more here in a minute, but I hope you guys enjoy the video. What is going on, you guys? Riley here. Today we're filming this video a little bit different than I had originally planned. However, I do have some really cool stuff in this video, and as you might be able to tell by the title, I just got to drive the brand new, all new 2020 mid-engine C8 Corvette, and oh my god, it was amazing. Now this is not the way I originally planned to film this video. I originally planned to bring you guys along with me, have cameras everywhere. I mean, I had like 5 cameras, 2 microphones, a whole bunch of batteries. I was set. I was ready. I was ready to shoot a movie. But then I unfortunately get to the racetrack where this event was being held, and they were like, no filming. So, no filming. However, with that being said, they did say we could take photos, which I have plenty of those, and I could use the video recordings from the PDR, the Performance Data Recorder, which is like the built-in dash cam from the car itself. So that kind of gives you a good view of what I saw driving around in the car, and then I can obviously sit here and talk to you about my overall feedback and opinions on the car itself, and some other things that, quite frankly, I didn't know about, and so hopefully you'll learn something in this video too. So I'll try to make this video as entertaining as possible with some stuff that I can overlay so you don't have to stare at my ugly face throughout the whole entire video. But anyways, so we get to Pahrump, Nevada, and the very first exercise they have us do as part of our C8 training is hop in a C7 Stingray Corvette with the Z51 package, and they tell us to go to this little autocross setup and drive the C7 around the autocross. And you know, everything was super familiar. Driven a C7, you know, many times. Everything was, you know, fine and dandy. I was like, yep, it's a C7. It drives just about right. So we do this little lap, and I set a lap time of 43.4 seconds. So at the time I was like, okay, cool, whatever, moving on. And then immediately after we drove the C7, we hopped into a C8, and I'm talking like 35 seconds later. So it was immediate, just drive the C7, drive the C8 to immediately compare the difference.
Light brake as you come in here. There you go.
That's much different than the C7.
It hooks up really well. Because you got all that weight on the rear, you know?
Right.
Hairpin left coming up, you're staying left this time. There you go. 90-degree left coming up after. Oh, nice. The man knows his racing lines. Yeah, see if you can elate apexes. The car will actually turn so well, sometimes it almost rotates a little bit in the rear. But I kind of like that because it helps you to plant.
Right. No, that's totally different.
And then you're staying right this time.
And my God, the difference between those two cars is, it's shocking to say that they're both still a Corvette. And I know the leap going from a C6 to a C7 was pretty massive, but the leap going from a C7 to a C8 is even more massive. They really don't feel anything similar. The C8 kind of resembles more of a Ferrari or an Audi R8 or something along those lines than it really does with a Corvette. So that's a good thing. It's just, it's totally different. But anyways, the very first time I take the C8 out, do the exact same little autocross setup, I shave off 3.7 seconds and put down a 39.74 lap. And like I said, that's first time driving in both of those cars on the same exact little autocross setup. And on that short of a little setup like that, to drop almost 4 seconds, that's huge. And I mean, the car just, it handles so much better. It feels just more refined. It is it's a night and day difference between the C7 and C8, and I was actually just completely shocked by that. And once you do it back to back like that, that's when it really hits you. It's like someone slaps you in the face and they're like, see, what do you think? And it's like, I get it now. So then after that, we did another run with the C8 after we got a little bit more familiar with it and familiar with the track, and I shaved off another 1.1 second. So I got to 38.60, and none of these runs were really like 100%, you know, squealing tires going crazy, but it was a good solid, just, you know, nice little run to test out the car, the handling capabilities. looking at the PDR footage, I saw I was pulling like 1.2 Gs in the C8, which is pretty impressive. I can guarantee you I was not doing that in the C7. But yeah, the C8, night and day difference on a little autocross track like that, and the fact that they set it up where you drive one and then immediately drive the other one, it was just like, this was mind-blowing. So before we got to actually drive the car on a racetrack, we got to learn a whole lot about the car as well. So a few interesting things to note. They originally designed the C8 and they built it from the ground up as a convertible, and originally had planned to release the convertible first, but then ultimately release the coupe first. But basically what that means is you're not sacrificing any structural rigidity by getting a convertible over a coupe. I mean, really there's no difference between the two cars aside from some electric motors and just the top being, you know, different. But I really do think the hardtop convertible was a great move, and that's probably the way to go if you can afford it. I think that's super cool. There's a rear window that sits right behind you where the driver and passenger are. You can independently roll that down and up, so you can have the top up with the window down and hear the engine right behind you. I just think it's super, super cool, and you don't have to you know, take care of a soft top and worry about anything that could go wrong there. Also, we learned that this is the safest Corvette they have ever built. It's about 10% stiffer than the C7 chassis, but ultimately you don't really feel that on a racetrack. To me, it feels just better and more comfortable. I enjoy the ride of the C8 better. Like I said, it resembles more of a Ferrari than it really does a Corvette. But it is the safest Corvette they've ever made. The amount of features that they packed into this thing, even in the base model form, is quite ridiculous. But we got to learn everything from just stuff with the transmission, the engine, the engineering that went behind this car. They've been working on this thing for 14 years. If you date that back, that's 2006. That was when the C6 Corvette came out. And when you look at a C6 Corvette, it's hard to imagine that they were working on this, you know, masterpiece, the C8, at the same time they were coming out with that car. So 14 years in the making. It's not something that they just kind of pieced together and slapped together in a couple years and said, here you go, here's our attempt at a mid-engine Corvette. This is something that they've perfected and engineered, and it's just, it's amazing. So after we learned a whole lot about the car, we finally got to suit up and take them out on a racetrack. And unfortunately for us, it was raining during our racetrack experience. So that was the first time I've ever been on a racetrack in the rain in any car. So that in itself was a little sketchy, and I was a little nervous, and I was like, man, I don't want to be the first person to wreck a C8 Corvette. That would not be good. So, you know, it was a lot of fun. I got to learn a lot about the car and the car's characteristics on the track. I really don't have anything negative to say about the car. The transmission is probably the most, I guess, most improved characteristic over the previous generation. It's super smooth. The shifts are immediate. That's probably the one thing that's like, wow, this is impressive. So for all those people out there saying, I hate automatics, it doesn't really feel like an automatic. It's a true dual clutch. It feels amazing. Forget having a manual. You can never shift that fast in a manual. It's really solid. The engine itself, even though they claim it's only 495 horsepower, it's plenty fast. The way the gearing in the car is set up, you're always in power, and it's truly remarkable, you know, what the car does on paper versus how it performs in reality. And I believe they were saying the visibility out the front of the car is like 40% better than a C7. You sit extremely far forward in the car, so it just feels like the car kind of just revolves around you, and it's a true driver's car. Everything is very driver oriented, very cockpit like of a feel, but just on the racetrack it just feels right at home. But even just driving around slowly around, you know, the little areas there, it just feels solid and smooth. That's like the one big thing about that car, is it just feels smooth.
And then just looking up the front here. Looking all the way down. Back to the brakes. There you look to the right. There's your apex. Tight to it. Look for your turn in. Nice, that was good right there. Looking across here, Dave. Full compression, back up to the right. Smooth with the feet though. Squeeze fifth. Look up the hill. Firm on the brakes. Fourth. Wait for it.
And believe me, I have sat here and tried to think of something negative to say about this car. really, I just can't come up with anything. The audio system they let us play around with. So when you get the 2LT or 3LT, you get a 14 speaker Bose audio system. Your ear is never more than 10 inches away from any speaker in that car, no matter where you are in the car, which is extremely impressive. It sounds really, really good. Probably the best audio system I have heard, possibly ever. So that's a big feat on itself because I'm a big music person, so I love that. The all digital gauge cluster is also one of my favorite features. You can pretty much customize that thing in whatever mode you're in to show you whatever data that you'd like to see, whether it's tire pressure information, fuel economy, different temperatures. You can place those wherever you want, and I just think the all digital readout looks super good, super modern. But overall, the car just feels really comfortable. I could sit there and do long road trips in that thing as long as you don't have the competition seats and be totally fine. I'll be honest with you, after sitting in the competition seats a couple times, not a huge fan of those. So maybe that's my one negative complaint. I'm a somewhat skinny dude. I'm like, I don't know, 5'11" or so. And I don't know, to me, I just couldn't get that comfortable in them. However, the GT1 and the GT2 are both extremely comfortable, and there's really no compromise there with either of those seat options. Also, I did think it's pretty cool that if you're driving around, you can pull both the left and right paddle simultaneously. That basically puts the car in a neutral state, and you can sit there and just rev bomb the thing, and that's pretty cool. It's like a manual putting it in neutral.
Get up to speed. We'll pull both. And then release. And it puts it back in E.
Wow, that's
So
pretty sweet.
it's pretty nice.
The front lift option works extremely well. One of the things I was worried about with the front lift system is that the GPS system wouldn't be super accurate, but we pulled up to a speed bump. It was already previously set. It immediately raised up, and I was shocked at just how accurate that system was. And then you cross over the speed bump, brings you back down, and you go on your way. So the front lift is definitely going to be a nice feature for a lot of people that live around steep inclines, have a steep driveway, stuff like that. And the fact that it can save up to 1,000 different locations based on their GPS location is extremely impressive. So that was cool as well.
You can put a little more steering and add a little throttle. Okay. Yep, a little throttle. So that is, okay, obviously the system is not stepping in too much, the car is able to slide.
Sure.
So if you press Z, okay, and then we're going to go to weather mode, and I want you to try the same thing, all right?
Okay.
And we'll see how good that system is. Doesn't allow the car to slide,
not at
doesn't
all.
allow the car to spin. The active handling steps in quite heavily.
Yeah.
So you get to see some of that. Pretty cool, huh?
That's a big difference.
Right?
But my overall thoughts and impressions on the C8 are that I absolutely love it. Would I consider getting one? Absolutely. Do I think it was the correct move for Chevrolet to go to a mid-engine design? Absolutely. Like I said earlier in the video, the C6 to C7, that was a great transformation. They improved a lot of things. But from C7 to C8 is just totally a game changer. They're nothing similar. And I say that in a good way because the C7 was a great car, but the C8 is a fantastic car. And I'm shocked at where they introduced this car in the price range it's at, and just the amount of stuff that you get for your money with that car. I would, dare I say, that is the best bang for your buck, just best car that you can buy in probably the last 5-10 years. I really do stand behind that car 100%. I plan to buy one, and I think once customers start getting their hands on them, they're going to think the exact same things that every other reviewer out there is saying, is nothing but positive things, and it's truly remarkable what Chevrolet has done. Now, it's basically impossible for me to sit here and cram 2 days of information that they shared with us into a short little video here for YouTube. So I apologize. I'm probably forgetting to mention a whole lot of things. But I'm kind of limited on what I can do with not being able to really film much while I was at the event itself. Just kind of the way it is, but at least something is better than nothing. At least they got us to film with the PDR, and I could take some photos and stuff like that. But just in a few short months, once customers start getting their hands on these cars, there's going to be so many videos and just so much information pumped out to the public, and you guys are going to be just absolutely blown away by this car. I'm a stickler for new cars. I really like to sit here and bash on little things here and there and ultimately have things improved, you know, over time. But I really can't sit here and think of anything that immediately just stands out to me as like, this needs to be fixed, this needs to be improved. Right out of the box, this car is awesome, and I'm shocked. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Like I said, this is not the original plan for this video. I had all kinds of cinematic stuff planned for it, and this really super cool video I planned out in my head. And then, you know, with the circumstances given to me, I've ultimately resulted to this. But at least it's better than nothing. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed some of the PDR footage and the photos that I was able to take. And like I said, just wait in just a couple months when people start getting these things. It's going to be quite a fun time. So if any of you out there are interested in purchasing a C8 Corvette, I can definitely hook you up at Parkway Chevrolet. So send me a message in social media, come visit me at the dealership, give the dealership a phone call. I'd be happy to assist you with your ordering and purchasing process. But until then, guys, I hope you enjoyed this short little video, and just stay tuned for a whole lot more. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Take it easy.
There you go, roll into it, you're good. Up to fifth, looking all the way down. There we go. Back to our brakes, nice and firm. Fourth. Look to your right, there's your apex. Just trying to get to it. Setting up for the exit of the corner here. There you go. Wait for your turn in, look across. Kind of clipping it, looking up the hill though. Looking all the way up for that number one. Back to the brakes firm. Fourth, look right. Looking across for it. All the way down. There you go, looking down the hill. Nice shot. Soft on the brakes, look left. Back to our apex, and then we can accelerate out, look up the hill, looking up, nice, back to our brakes, trying to stay left here to set up for turn 7, looking to the right, looking for your turn in, there you go, a little straightaway, soft on the brakes once again here for turn 8, look right, all the way down. Tight to it, stay to the right, looking to the left. Looking for our turn in for turn number 10. Squeezing in, back to the left. Little wide on exit, just watch those exit curves. Look to your right, looking up the front. There we go. All right, solid improvement once again. Riley, I'm going to have you pull to the right side, please. I'm going to get Dave back behind me. I'll have Dave directly behind me, and then Riley, you can follow mine behind that red car, and we'll continue. Perfect.